The man walking down the street attracted a lot of attention. It turned out to be because he was naturally short. His name was Finn, and his height brought him many troubles. Not only was he ridiculed by children, but even the clerks in the supermarket couldn't see him. To make matters worse, his only friend suddenly passed away. The lawyer informed him that his friend had left him a property. So Finn left the city and moved into the house his friend left him in the countryside. He went out to buy coffee, and the vendor enthusiastically introduced himself. The vendor's name was Joe, and he was there temporarily to sell goods because his father was ill. However, Finn did not respond to Joe and instead headed to the convenience store. A female driver approached him head-on and didn't see him, causing him to awkwardly dodge and get muddy. That wasn't the end of it. On his way back from the convenience store, Finn encountered the female driver again. This time, although she saw him, she made a mistake in handling her car and nearly collided with him again. Fortunately, Finn was agile, but he avoided her apologies. That evening, the female driver suddenly visited. She brought a bottle of wine to celebrate Joe's move. After a drink, the woman introduced herself as Olivia. She married her beloved man at 19 but was now divorced, and her son had passed away 2 years ago. She became sad and asked Finn not to look at her, then fell asleep in the quiet. The next morning, she left in a hurry. Joe saw her leaving and asked Finn about the woman. It turned out Joe had noticed the beautiful woman a long time ago but had never managed to speak to her. He kept pestering Finn to include him the next time he saw her, and Finn reluctantly agreed. At the bookstore, Finn wanted to borrow a book but didn't have a card. Olivia stepped forward to help, checking out the book in her name. Joe rode in Olivia's car to find Finn watching trains. On their way back, they met Olivia again. Joe asked her for a ride. Back home, Joe prepared delicious food, and the three of them had lunch together by the dining car. During the meal, Joe received a call from his father and left in a hurry, leaving Olivia and Finn alone. They ate lunch in silence. Joe and Finn read together, but Joe soon got bored. He tried to contact Olivia, and the three of them went to the railroad tracks where Finn often went. They walked on the tracks together and shared beef jerky. Finn explained why the trains were called express trains, while Joe happily joined the children playing. Olivia suddenly remembered her son and left. The next day, Joe took Finn to Olivia's house. Olivia told Finn that her son fell from the monkey bars when she turned her back. She moved here to avoid people's gaze. That night, Finn and Joe stayed at Olivia's house. Before bed, Finn asked Olivia about her feelings for her ex-husband and received a positive response. Early the next morning, Finn came downstairs and saw a man who turned out to be Olivia's ex-husband, David. Since Olivia hadn't been answering his calls, he came to check on her. They decided to talk alone, so Joe and Finn had to leave. A new day began with Finn and Joe meeting up. A black car sped past them, and Joe recognized it as Olivia's car. He shouted, but she didn't stop. Just then, Joe received a call from his father inviting him to the Red Mill Bar, and he agreed to go. Finn went to the store to buy some things and overheard that Olivia had ordered some groceries that would be delivered in 2 hours. Finn offered to take the items to her himself. He knocked on Olivia's door and asked how she was, but she just said she was fine and asked about the food prices before shutting the door on him. That evening, Finn arrived at the Red Mill Bar as planned. He met Emily, the girl who managed the bookstore, and she confided in him about her pregnancy. They talked until dawn. Finn then went to the train to tidy up, where Joe finally showed up, explaining he was late due to his father's issues. Finn, wanting to be alone, said as much, and their conversation ended on a sour note. Finn gradually adjusted to living alone again. One day, while at home, he received a visit from Emily, who apologized for her boyfriend's behavior. She explained that her boyfriend just had a bad temper and asked if she could stay at Finn's house for the night. Later, Finn went near Olivia's house, sitting on a log to read quietly. He heard Olivia and David arguing and cautiously approached. He saw Olivia collapse onto the couch, exhausted. He wanted to check on her but was met with her refusal. Upset, Finn went to a bar to drink. The stares from the people around him worsened his mood. He stood on a stool and loudly told everyone to look at him. Drunkenly, he left the bar and went to the railroad tracks, where he seemed to see a train coming towards him but didn't move. Instead, smiling, he woke up with a hazy mind, realizing the train was just a dream. Finn called Joe, and together they found Olivia. They talked about submarines and trains, and life gradually returned to normal.